Hello everybody, I'm Leslie, and I'd like to welcome you to the Her Conscious Life blog. It's a blog that I started because I am keenly interested in this thing called consciousness. Now, I started my journey of consciousness about 10 years ago, and I just had this sense that while in creating my life, while it looked like success, it didn't quite feel fulfilling. I wanted to create a life that not only had those successful benchmarks, but also felt good from the inside out. And so I've started, about 10 years ago, reading books, articles, watching videos, listening to discussions on the internet, and even going to venues, conventions and trade shows where authors and speakers talked about this thing called consciousness. And 10 years later, I have a better understanding of how important consciousness is in our day-to-day lives. And let me define what this thing called consciousness is, at least from my perspective. Now, consciousness is about making the day-to-day choices in our lives from a place of intention and making them from a deliberate focus. So that's living deliberately and living in intention, so that again, those choices we make about work, those choices that we make about inviting new friends into our lives, about nurturing our relationships with family, children, spouses, friends, are from a place of consciousness. We can even nourish and take care of our bodies from a place of consciousness. Just about anything and everything we do has a level of consciousness that we can apply so that we're doing it from a place of authenticity. Consciousness for me really is about empowering our lives so that we create more authentic, meaningful, and on-purpose lives. Now, if that sounds good to you, that's everything that I want to discuss here in the blog. And I invite you to contribute in any way that you find. You can write articles, you can submit videos, but let me know what you think about this idea of consciousness. You may have some articles or notes that you've written related to consciousness, have some authors that you favor on the subject of consciousness. Feel free to contribute that information. Now, you can see, I believe, issues of consciousness in our day-to-day lives, whether we're looking at our own lives or the problems and issues that people face on television, whether it's celebrities or politicians, or even the issues that relatives and friends in our own lives are facing. Usually it's because these relationships and issues were created from a place of unconsciousness. That's usually what creates the angst and the turmoil. Now let me explain further. If you look at our divorce rate, and some say it's approaching 50% for first-time marriages, and even more like 60% for the second and, who knows, third-time marriages. But I believe where relationships are concerned, and it's been evidenced in my own life, that I've taken society's ideas, the media's ideas about creating a relationship and taking those to heart instead of asking what it is I really want to experience in a potential partner. And I'm not sure that I've interacted with that potential partner from a place of consciousness and authenticity. And so now that's my endeavor, to make sure that when I'm relating to someone, it is from this authentic place. I'm talking about the subject matters that have meaning to me. I'm expressing the ideas about life that have meaning to me. I'm carrying myself not in a way that society expects of me, like I've got to have a certain body size or wear particular clothes in order to be liked or to be appreciated, but I want to just show up and express from my authentic self so that the person I'm inviting into my life knows who I am and can relate and value me based on that, instead of some false sense that probably in a short period of time, if I'm putting on a false face, that's going to be a problem. Because I'm not going to continue to want to do that throughout the relationship. And it may set up the issue where someone feels like they were fooled into selecting a particular mate because that mate projected themselves as somebody that had certain qualities, a certain job, or certain demeanor, only to catch that mate and bring them into their lives. So authenticity is important. You can see it in issues related to our health with the high obesity rate for children and adults. What's happening there? Are we consciously feeding our bodies? When we go to the grocery store and we make our selections for restaurants, are we choosing those foods and those restaurant outlets that have food that we think is actually going to nourish our bodies? Are we going for the fats and the sugars and that kind of thing that we know would be detrimental to our overall health, especially over time? So this thing called consciousness is very important, and it really is a subject matter that I think is important for us as a species, the human race, to discuss. I think if we apply these lessons of consciousness into our lives, we can evolve, even during our own particular lifetimes, into a more fulfilled and more self-actualized species. So that's what I'm interested in doing with this blog. And again, I would love your help, your contributions, and your feedback. Thanks so much, and we'll talk again soon. Welcome to Her Conscious Life.